The Raisina Dialogue is India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics. It began in New Delhi on Wednesday. And the theme for this 9th edition is Chaturanga, conflict, contest, cooperate, create. So there would be some interesting thematic pillars as well, which include decolonizing multilateralism and the post-2030 agenda. The Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, was the chief guest, and he spoke on a number of issues of our current time. Let's listen.
India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, the Raisina Dialogue, began in the capital New Delhi. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi graced the inaugural session, which began with the keynote address by the chief guest, the Prime Minister of Greece, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. He said that strengthening partnership with India should be the cornerstone of Europe's foreign policy.
Strengthening our partnership with India, and I'm speaking about Europe, should be a cornerstone of Europe's foreign policy. And this is certainly true for my country. We have made good progress over the past years towards achieving that goal, but we have much further to go. And Greece has an important role in this endeavor.
The Greece Prime Minister further in his address talked of Greece's support to the reform of the United Nations Security Council to bring countries like India on board.
And by the way, Greece is supporting the reform of the Security Council of the United Nations in order for leading countries such as India to be represented at the highest table and in order for their voice to be heard.
Greece Prime Minister praised India, saying India's example needs to be celebrated in terms of how democracy can deliver strong economic growth and also deliver prosperity that brings social cohesion.
You are an example to the world, an example which should be celebrated, a demonstration of how democracy can deliver stronger economic growth. This has been your record for a decade now. How strong economic growth can deliver prosperity, and how, of course, the delivery of prosperity can also strengthen social cohesion.
Greece Prime Minister further said that Ukraine is much more than a local war on European soil and termed it as a brutal challenge to international stability.
We Europeans do apply double standards, focusing on Ukraine at the expense of wars and crises in the rest of the world. And maybe there is truth in that allegation. But I would like to make the point here in Delhi that Ukraine is much more than a local war on European soil. It is a brutal challenge to international stability and the international rules-based order that India has supported and has every interest in maintaining.
Greece Prime Minister termed India as a consensus builder and voice of reason in an increasingly polarized world.
When it comes to shaping the direction of the global debate and addressing the great challenges that we face, India is now often regarded, and rightly so, as a consensus builder and as a voice of reason in an increasingly polarized world. And we too often forget that the raison d'etre, the real reason why the international system was created in the first place, was simple because nations large and small recognized that their true interest lay ultimately not in antagonism and in conflict, but in partnership and cooperation.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, while delivering his vote of thanks, praised Greece Prime Minister's keynote address and said, as India expands its global engagement, it has already looked at Greece as an important partner.
Our collective appreciation to Prime Minister Mitsotakis for what I'm confident all of you will agree was a truly inspirational and thought-provoking address. His message of democracies that deliver resonates strongly, particularly now, particularly here. Prime Minister Modi's presence amongst us, as always, is a reminder of India's growing engagement with the world, especially in the last decade. He has shown us why it is as important to listen and reflect as it is to articulate and express.
The Raisina dialogue is committed to addressing the most challenging issues facing the international community. The theme of this edition is Chaturanga, Conflict, Contest, Cooperate, Create, with Jessica Taneja and Amritpal Singh, Shagnik Chakraborty reporting for DD India.